She opened the car door expecting silence. Instead, the man behind the wheel said her real name. Not the one on her ID, not the one she used at work. The name only 3 people in the world knew. And 2 of them were dead. Her hand froze on the door handle. Rain drummed against the roof. The city blurred behind tinted windows. He didn't look at her. Didn't smile. Just adjusted the rearview mirror and said it again. Softer this time, like he'd known her his whole life. She should have run, but her legs wouldn't move. Because drivers don't know secrets that get people killed. Welcome back, my love. If you're new here, subscribe so you never miss a story like this. Hit that like button and drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. It truly makes my day. 20 minutes earlier, she'd been standing outside the office building, drenched, phone dead, no cabs in sight, just rain and headlights and the kind of exhaustion that makes you careless. That's when the black sedan pulled up, sleek, expensive, the kind of car that doesn't stop for strangers. But it stopped for her. The window rolled down halfway. A man's voice, quiet and polite, asked if she needed a ride. She hesitated. She wasn't stupid, but the rain was freezing and her apartment was 40 minutes away on foot, so she got in. The interior smelled like leather and something faintly floral. Jasmine, maybe. The seats were heated. Classical music played softly through the speakers. There was no company logo anywhere inside the car. He wore a black suit, crisp and tailored, hands steady on the wheel. No rings, no watch, nothing flashy. He looked like every corporate driver she'd ever seen. Professional, forgettable. She leaned back, closing her eyes. Her boss had screamed at her for 3 hours straight today. The presentation failed. The client walked. And somehow, it was all her fault. She was too tired to care about small talk. Too tired to wonder why this car showed up exactly when she needed it. But then she noticed something. He wasn't using GPS. No phone mounted on the dashboard. No screen glowing with directions. Just driving, like he already knew. She shifted in her seat. "Excuse me," she said. "I didn't tell you where I'm going yet." He didn't answer right away. Just merged onto the highway, smooth and deliberate. "You live in Hanam-dong," he said finally. "Building 12, 8th floor." Her stomach dropped. "How do you—" "Your company arranged the ride," he interrupted gently. "They sent the address." That made sense. Sort of. Her company sometimes booked cars for late nights. She exhaled, tried to relax, but her hands stayed clenched in her lap, because something about his voice didn't match his face. Too calm, too certain, like he wasn't reading from a file, like he'd been there before. The car moved through empty streets, no traffic, no stoplights, just smooth, uninterrupted speed. She glanced at the dashboard, 120 kilometers per hour. Her building was only 15 minutes away at normal speed. She started. "Are we taking a shortcut?" "Yes." One word, no explanation. She looked out the window. The streets didn't look familiar anymore. Tall buildings gave way to warehouses. Streetlights flickered and died behind them. Her pulse quickened. "I think you missed the turn," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. He said nothing, just adjusted the mirror again, and she saw his eyes for the first time. Cold, empty, watching her. Her breath caught. She reached for the door handle. Locked. Of course it was locked. "Let me out," she said. He didn't respond. The car sped up. Her heart slammed against her ribs. She pulled her phone from her bag. Still dead. Useless. "Please," she whispered. "I don't know what this is, but you will." 2 words. Soft. Final. The warehouses blurred past. The city disappeared behind them. And that's when she noticed the car wasn't slowing down. The phone rang. Not hers. His. A low vibration from somewhere in the console. He answered without hesitation. Spoke in Korean. Fast. Clipped. She didn't understand the language, but she understood tone. This wasn't a casual conversation. He said something about a location, then a time. Yol Hansi Samsitbun. 11:30. Confirmed. She glanced at the dashboard clock, 11:17. Her chest tightened. He listened for a moment, then responded. One word stood out. Hwajim. Confirmation. He hung up without saying goodbye, slipped the phone back into his pocket, and kept driving. She pressed herself against the door, mind racing. Maybe this was nothing. Maybe he was just running late for something. Maybe she was panicking over nothing. But then she saw the headlights. Behind them, 2 cars, black like his, keeping perfect distance, not passing, not falling back. Just there. Her throat went dry. Are those cars following us? She asked. He glanced at the rearview mirror. Calm. Too calm. Yes. No hesitation, no lies, just confirmation. She felt the world tilt. Why? Protection. From what? He didn't answer. The silence stretched, heavy, suffocating. She thought about screaming, thought about breaking the window, thought about how stupid she'd been to get into this car. But none of that mattered now. The road ahead curved into darkness. No lights, no buildings, just empty industrial land and the hum of the engine. Where are you taking me? She demanded. Her voice cracked. He adjusted his grip on the steering wheel. Somewhere safe. Safe for who? He didn't answer. The phone rang again. This time he put it on speaker. A man's voice filled the car, deep, authoritative, also in Korean. She caught fragments, words she didn't know. But one phrase repeated. Gunyo는 준비돼 있사옵니까? Is she ready? Her blood turned to ice. The driver responded. 네, 10분 안에 도착합니다. Yes, we arrive in 10 minutes. The voice on the phone said something else, something sharp, final. Then the line went dead. She stared at him. What did he say? The driver's jaw tightened, just barely. The first crack in his composure. He said to make sure you don't try anything stupid. Her hands shook. Who are you? Someone doing his job. And what's your job? Delivery. The word hit her like a slap. Delivery. Not driver, not protection. Delivery. She was cargo. Her stomach twisted. I didn't do anything, she whispered. I don't know what this is about, but you have the wrong person. He said nothing, just took the next turn. Smooth, precise, like he'd driven this route 100 times. The 2 cars behind them followed, synchronized, professional. This wasn't random, this wasn't a mistake. Someone planned this, someone sent him, and she still didn't know why. The dashboard clock read 11:28, 2 minutes, until whatever was scheduled for her. Her heart hammered. She thought about her apartment, her co-workers, her mother, halfway across the country. Would anyone even notice she was gone? The driver slowed down. Not much, just enough. And then she saw it. Up ahead, a warehouse. Lights on inside, shadows moving behind frosted glass. The car pulled into the lot. Gravel crunched under the tires. The 2 cars behind them parked on either side, blocking her in. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The driver turned off the engine. The sudden silence was deafening. He finally looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time she saw something in his eyes. Not pity, not cruelty, just inevitability. I'm sorry, he said quietly. And that's when she understood. This wasn't about a wrong address, or a company mix-up, or a random abduction. This was planned. This was personal. And the phone call he took? The timestamp he confirmed? It wasn't about traffic, because the call wasn't about traffic. It was about her. The driver reached for the door handle. She grabbed his arm. Wait. Her voice barely a whisper. He paused, didn't pull away, just looked at her hand on his sleeve. Please, she said, just tell me why. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke, softly. You really don't know, do you? Yonja? The world stopped. Yonja. Her breath caught in her throat. That name hadn't been spoken aloud in 8 years. She changed it when she left Busan, buried it, erased every record, Started over in Seoul as someone new, someone clean, someone with no past. Only 3 people ever knew that name. Her mother, her sister, and Min Jun. Her mother died 6 years ago. Her sister disappeared 5 years ago. And Min Jun was supposed to be dead. How do you know that name? She breathed. He turned to face her fully, his expression unreadable. I know more than your name. He leaned back against the seat, relaxed, like they had all the time in the world. I know you lived in Busan until you were 19. Her pulse hammered. I know you worked at the fish market on weekends to pay for your sister's medicine. Her hands went numb. I know you borrowed money from the wrong people when the medicine stopped working. No. And I know, he continued, voice dropping even lower, that you ran when you couldn't pay it back. She couldn't breathe, couldn't move. This was impossible. She'd covered her tracks, changed her name, moved cities, cut ties with everyone from her old life. Who told you this? She demanded, voice shaking. He tilted his head slightly. The same person who's been looking for you for the last 5 years. Her vision blurred. 5 years. That's how long it had been since her sister vanished, since the debt collectors stopped calling, since she thought she was finally free. You're lying. Am I? He reached into his jacket. She flinched, but he only pulled out a photograph. Old, faded, creased down the middle. He held it up. She felt the air leave her lungs. It was her, younger, standing outside the fish market, her sister beside her, both of them smiling. She hadn't seen this photo in years, didn't even know anyone had taken it. Where did you get that? She whispered. From the man who bought your debt. The words landed like a punch. That's not possible. I paid it back. No, he said quietly. Your sister paid it back. Her heart stopped. What? 3 months after you left Busan, your sister came to Seoul. She found the creditors, made a deal. He paused, let the words sink in. She sold herself to settle your debt. No. God, no. You're lying, she said again, but her voice broke. He put the photo away. She worked for them for 2 years, and then she disappeared. No one knows where she went. No one except the man who owned her contract. Tears burned her eyes. And he wants to talk to you. Why? The word came out strangled. Because your sister took something when she left. Something valuable. And he thinks you know where it is. She shook her head violently. I don't. I haven't seen her in 5 years. I don't know anything. Then you have nothing to worry about. But his tone said otherwise. She wiped her face with shaking hands. What happens if I can't tell him what he wants to know? The driver didn't answer right away. He just looked at her, and the silence said everything. Who is he? She asked. Someone you don't want to disappoint. That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting right now. He opened his door. Cold air rushed in. Wait, she said desperately. Please, just... Who betrayed me? Who told him where I was? He paused halfway out of the car, looked back at her, and for the first time, something almost like sympathy crossed his face. The person you trusted most. Her stomach dropped. Who? He didn't answer, just stepped out into the night. The 2 cars flanking them opened their doors in unison. Men in dark suits emerged, silent, efficient, professional. She sat frozen, mind spinning. The person she trusted most. Her co-workers barely knew her. Her neighbors kept to themselves. She had no friends, no family left, no one close enough to... And then it hit her. Her supervisor, the one who screamed at her today, the one who knew her schedule, the one who could have arranged this car. Oh God. The driver opened her door, gestured for her to step out. She didn't move. What if I run? She whispered. You won't make it 10 steps. It wasn't a threat, just a fact. She looked past him, at the warehouse, at the men waiting, at the darkness beyond the lot, and she realized something. Running wouldn't save her. Screaming wouldn't help. This was always going to happen. The moment she got in this car, maybe even before that. Maybe the moment her sister made that deal 5 years ago. This was inevitable. So she asked the only question left. "What's his name? The man who wants to see me?" The driver's expression shifted, almost imperceptibly. "You'll find out soon enough." She stepped out of the car, legs unsteady, heart pounding. And as the men closed in around her, as the warehouse door opened ahead, as her old life and new life collided in the worst possible way, she finally asked the wrong question. "What's his name?" She heard herself ask it again, desperate, pleading. The driver stopped walking, turned back to her. The men in dark suits formed a loose circle around them, not threatening, just present, waiting. He studied her face for a long moment. Then he smiled. Small, cold. "You're asking the wrong question." "What?" He took a step closer. She took a step back. Her shoulders hit the car. Nowhere left to go. "You keep asking who he is," the driver said softly. "But you haven't asked who I am." Her throat tightened. "You're the driver." "No." The word cut through the air, final, absolute. He tilted his head slightly. "I'm not your driver." Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. And then, "I own the road." The words landed like a physical blow. She stared at him, really looked at him for the first time. The suit wasn't just expensive. It was custom. The kind of tailoring that cost more than her rent. The way he carried himself. The way the other men positioned themselves around him. Not guarding him. Guarding her. From him. Oh God. "You're—" She couldn't finish the sentence. He didn't need her to. He raised one hand, barely a gesture. The men moved instantly, no words, no commands, just immediate, precise action. 2 of them disappeared into the warehouse. 2 stayed flanking the cars. 1 opened the warehouse door and stood waiting. The driver, no, not the driver, walked toward the entrance. Slow, unhurried, like he had all the time in the world. Because he did. She didn't move. Couldn't move. Her legs felt like lead. He stopped at the threshold, looked back at her. "Are you coming?" It wasn't really a question. She forced herself to walk. Each step felt like wading through water. The warehouse was nothing like she expected. No concrete floors, no exposed pipes, no rust or decay. The interior had been gutted and rebuilt. Polished wood floors, soft lighting, furniture that looked like it belonged in a penthouse, not an industrial lot. A desk sat in the center of the space. Dark wood, clean lines, papers stacked neatly on one side, a single chair behind it. Empty. He walked past the desk without looking at it, poured himself a drink from a bar cart against the wall. Whiskey. Neat. He didn't offer her one, just took a slow sip and turned to face her. "Sit." She didn't see a chair. He gestured. A man appeared from the shadows. When did he get there? Carrying a simple wooden chair. Set it down in front of the desk. Disappeared again. She sat. Her hands trembled in her lap. He leaned against the desk. Casual. Relaxed. Like they were old friends catching up. 8 years, he said. "That's how long you've been in Seoul." She said nothing. "You came here on a student visa. Studied business at Yonsei, graduated with honors, got a job at a mid-level firm, kept your head down." He took another sip. His eyes never left hers. "You thought if you stayed quiet long enough the past would stay buried." Her chest ached. "But the past doesn't stay buried," he continued. "Not when there's money involved." "I don't have any money," she whispered. "I know." "Then what do you want from me?" He set the glass down, straightened, walked around the desk and sat in the chair behind it. The moment he did, the air in the room shifted. This wasn't just a man sitting down. This was a king taking his throne. "Your sister," he said, "worked for an organization, my organization. She was good at what she did, quiet, efficient, loyal. He folded his hands on the desk. And then one day she disappeared, along with 20 million won and a ledger containing every transaction we'd made in the last 3 years. 20 million won. That was nearly $17,000. And a ledger. Evidence. Her sister stole evidence. I didn't know, she said quickly. I swear I didn't. I believe you. She blinked. You do? Yes. He leaned forward slightly. But belief doesn't change the situation. Your sister took something that belongs to me, and until I get it back, your insurance. Insurance for what? For her return. Her heart sank. She's not coming back. I don't even know if she's alive. Then you have a problem. The words hung in the air, cold, certain. She felt tears prick her eyes. Please, I don't know where she is. I haven't heard from her in 5 years. I can't help you. You will. How? He stood, walked around the desk again, stopped directly in front of her, looked down at her with those cold, empty eyes. Because if your sister is alive, she'll come for you. And when she does, I'll be waiting. And if she's not alive? His expression didn't change. Then you'll take her place. The room tilted. Take her place? Her debt becomes yours. That's not fair. Fair? He almost smiled. Nothing about this is fair. But it is reality. He turned away, poured himself another drink. You'll stay here tonight. Tomorrow we'll discuss the details. Stay here? I have work tomorrow. He raised one finger. The man who'd brought her chair earlier appeared again, silent, waiting. The message was clear. She had no say in this, no power, no control. She was his now, at least until her sister resurfaced, or until she paid a debt she didn't even owe. He took another sip of whiskey, didn't look at her when he spoke again. Take her upstairs. Make sure she has everything she needs. The man nodded, gestured for her to follow. She stood on shaking legs, walked toward the staircase in the corner. But before she reached it, she stopped, turned back. Why did you drive the car yourself? She asked. If you're who you are, why not send someone else? He finally looked at her, really looked at her, and when he spoke, his voice was quieter than before, almost human. Because I wanted to see if you were worth saving. She didn't know what to say to that, didn't know if it was a compliment or a threat. Maybe both. The man gestured again. She followed him up the stairs, and as she climbed, she heard it. The sound of a phone ringing. The driver, no, the boss, answered. His voice dropped to a murmur. Authoritative, final. And every person in that warehouse stopped what they were doing, stood straighter, listened. Because the moment he spoke, everyone listened. The room upstairs was nothing like a cell. Queen-sized bed, clean white sheets, a window overlooking the city lights. The door didn't lock from the outside, but she knew better than to try it. The man who'd escorted her stood outside, silent, still, a living deadbolt. She sat on the edge of the bed, stared at her hands, tried to process what had just happened. Her sister was a criminal. She was collateral. And the man downstairs, the one who drove her here, was apparently someone important enough to make grown men move with a single gesture. She didn't sleep, couldn't, just sat there as the hours crawled by. Every hour she stayed here, someone else was deciding her future. Morning came slowly. Gray light filtered through the window. Seoul woke up outside. Traffic. People. Life continuing like nothing had changed. But everything had changed. A soft knock on the door. She tensed. A woman entered. Mid-40s. Professional. Carrying a tray with tea and toast. She set it on the bedside table without a word. Turned to leave. Wait, she said. Who are you? The woman paused. Someone who works here. And where is here? Somewhere safe. The same answer he'd given. The woman left. The door closed behind her. She didn't touch the food. An hour later, the man from last night appeared. He wants to see you. She followed him back downstairs. The warehouse looked different in daylight, less ominous, almost normal, except for the men stationed at every corner, watching, waiting. He was sitting at the desk again, reading something on a tablet. Didn't look up when she entered. Sit. She sat in the same chair as last night. He finished reading, set the tablet aside, looked at her with those calculating eyes. Do you know who I am? No. My name is Kang Min Seok. He said it like it should mean something. It didn't. He saw the confusion on her face, almost smiled. You've been in Seoul for 8 years and you've never heard of me? No. Good, he said. That means you've stayed in the right circles. He leaned back in his chair. I run an organization, import, export, investments, some legal, most not. He said it casually, like he was describing a grocery list. Your sister worked in logistics. She moved product, kept records, ensured transactions stayed clean. And then she stole from you. Yes. Why? He was quiet for a moment. I don't know. That's what I intend to find out. She swallowed hard. What does this have to do with me? I told you I don't know where she is. I believe you. Then let me go. I can't. Why not? He stood, walked to the window, hands clasped behind his back. 3 days ago, someone made contact with one of my associates. They claimed to represent your sister. They offered to return the ledger for a price. Her pulse quickened. What price? You. The word hit her like ice water. What? He turned to face her. They want you in exchange for the ledger. That doesn't make sense. Why would she? Because you're not the trade. He moved closer. You're the bait. Her mind raced. I don't understand. Your sister didn't steal from me on a whim. She had help. Someone inside my organization fed her information, told her what to take, when to run. He stopped in front of her. And now that same person wants to use you to draw her out. Who? I don't know yet. But you have a suspect. He didn't confirm or deny, just watched her. Here's what's going to happen, he said. I'm going to make it known that I have you, that you're my guest, that you're protected. Protected sounded like a threat. And then? Then we wait. If your sister is alive, she'll make a move. And when she does, I'll know who's helping her. And if she doesn't? Then the person who betrayed me will make a move instead. And I'm just supposed to sit here, waiting to be bait? Yes. What if I refuse? His expression didn't change. You won't. You don't know that. I do. He walked back to the desk, picked up a folder, handed it to her. She opened it. Her hands went numb. Photos, her apartment, her office, her route to work. The coffee shop she stopped at every morning. The gym she went to twice a week. Everything. Her entire life. Documented. I've known where you were for 6 months, he said quietly. I could have taken you any time, but I waited. Why? Because I wanted to see if your sister would come for you on her own. He took the folder back. She didn't, which means either she doesn't know I've found you, or she doesn't care. The words stung more than she expected. So you're using me as bait to prove which one it is. Yes. And if she doesn't care? Then you work for me until the debt is paid. How long will that take? 5 years, maybe more. Her stomach dropped. That's not fair. I know. Then why? Because fair doesn't exist in this world. He sat back down, folded his hands on the desk. But I'm not unreasonable. Work for me. Follow the rules, and you'll be treated well. You'll have housing, food, protection, a salary. A salary for being a prisoner. A salary for being useful. He said it like there was a difference. And if I try to run? You won't make it a block. And if I go to the police? His expression turned cold. Then you'll find out exactly how deep my connections go. The threat was clear. She had no allies, no escape, no options. What do you want me to do? she asked quietly. For now, nothing. Just exist. Be visible. Let people see that you're here. People? The people who need to see. He stood. You'll have access to the main floor. You can eat, read, watch television, but you don't leave the building, and you don't contact anyone outside. For how long? Until this is over. And when will that be? He walked toward the stairs, paused. When your sister surfaces, or when the traitor makes a mistake. He looked back at her one last time. For your sake, I hope it's soon. Then he was gone, up the stairs, out of sight. She sat alone in that warehouse, surrounded by expensive furniture and silent guards, a prisoner in everything but name. And the worst part? She understood now. This wasn't just about money, or a ledger, or revenge. This was about control. He didn't need to shout, didn't need to threaten, didn't need to hurt her. He just needed her to understand that he owned this situation. Every angle, every outcome. And she was just one piece on a board she couldn't even see. The woman from earlier appeared with lunch, set it down, left without speaking. She stared at the food, then at the window, then at the door, and realized something. She'd spent 8 years in Seoul trying to survive, trying to build something, trying to outrun her past. And in one night, it all collapsed, because someone she trusted, someone close, had sold her out, used her name, made a deal. And now she was leverage, a bargaining chip, a tool, and survival was suddenly negotiable. 3 days passed. Same routine. Meals brought by the silent woman. Hours spent staring at the city through the window. Guards rotating shifts outside her door. No one spoke to her. No one explained anything. She was just there, waiting. On the 4th morning, Kang Min-seok returned. He found her sitting by the window, book in her lap, unopened. You're not reading. She didn't look at him. Hard to focus when your life isn't yours anymore. He pulled up a chair, sat across from her, close enough that she could see the details she'd missed before. The thin scar above his left eyebrow, the silver ring on his right hand, the exhaustion buried beneath his calm exterior. I have a proposition, he said. I thought you already decided what happens to me. I did, but circumstances have changed. That got her attention. She turned to face him. What changed? Your sister made contact. Her heart stopped. She's alive? Yes. Relief flooded through her, then fear. What did she say? She wants to meet. Tonight. Neutral ground. And she specified that you need to be there. Her pulse quickened. Why? She says she won't talk unless she sees you. Proof that you're unharmed. He leaned forward slightly. This is what we've been waiting for. So you're going to use me to trap her? Yes. At least he was honest. And after? What happens to her? That depends on what she tells me. And if she doesn't tell you what you want to hear? He didn't answer. Didn't need to. She looked away. I won't help you hurt her. I'm not asking you to. Then what are you asking? Just show up. Let her see you. Let her know you're safe. But I'm not safe. You're safer than you would be without me. She laughed bitterly. That's not saying much. He stood, walked to the window, stared out at the city. I know you think I'm the villain in this story, he said quietly. But I'm not the one who put you here. No, you just decided to keep me here. To protect you. From what? He turned to face her. From the person who sold you out. She went still. You know who it is. I have suspicions. Tell me. Not yet. Why not? Because if I'm right, knowing will put you in more danger than you're already in. He moved closer. The person who betrayed you isn't some low-level associate. They're someone with access, with power. Someone who's been in my organization long enough to know exactly how to move without being seen. Her stomach twisted. And you think if they know that I know, they'll kill me. Yes. The word hung in the air. Simple, certain, terrifying. So what's the proposition? She asked. Come with me tonight. Meet your sister. Let her see you're alive. And then... He paused. And then? And then you help me find out who she's working with. You think she'll tell me. I think she trusts you more than she trusts me. He sat down again. Your sister didn't just steal from me. She stole from someone inside my organization, someone who's been skimming profits for years, someone who saw an opportunity and used her to cover their tracks. And you want me to get her to name them? Yes. And if she won't, then you convince her. How? His eyes met hers, by telling her the truth, that the only way both of you survive this is if we find the real traitor. She shook her head. You're asking me to betray my sister. I'm asking you to save her, by helping you. Yes. And if I refuse? He was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached into his jacket, pulled out another folder, set it on the table between them. Open it. She didn't want to, but she did anyway. Her breath caught. Photos. Her sister, thin, bruised, barely recognizable. Where did you get these? From my contacts. Your sister's been moving through the underworld for the last 5 years, selling information, running cons, hiding. He pointed to one of the photos. She's sick, hepatitis, untreated. She has maybe 6 months if she doesn't get medical care. Tears burned her eyes. You're lying. I wish I was. He closed the folder. She stole from me to pay for treatment, but the people she sold the ledger to didn't pay her. They used her, and now she's desperate enough to come back. So you're going to kill her? No. She looked up. No? I'm going to give her a choice. Work for me again, clean, legitimate, medical care included, or walk away with nothing and die in some alley in 6 months. He stood. But that only works if I can prove she wasn't the one skimming, that she was used by someone else. And you need me to get that proof. Yes. She stared at the folder, at her sister's face. Hollow, haunted, broken. What happens if I help you? She asked quietly. Then your sister gets a second chance, and so do you. And if I don't? He walked toward the door. Then I let the traitor find her first, and they'll make sure neither of you ever talks. He paused at the threshold. I'm not asking you to trust me. I'm asking you to be smart. Smart would have been not getting in your car. Maybe. He looked back at her. But you did, and now we're here. So you have 2 options. Which are, help me find the person who destroyed your lives and get justice, or refuse and watch everything collapse. That's not a choice. No, he said. It's not. So I'm trapped. You're alive. He opened the door. The meet is tonight at 11, dress warm. It's cold out. And if I say no? He stopped, didn't turn around. Then I'll go without you. And your sister will think I killed you. And she'll run. And the traitor will find her. And in 6 months you'll get a call from the Seoul police telling you they found a body. His voice dropped. Or you come with me. And maybe, just maybe, we all walk out of this alive. He left. The door closed. She sat alone with the folder, with her sister's hollow eyes staring up at her, with the impossible choice that wasn't really a choice at all. She could refuse, could dig in her heels, could tell him to go to hell. But it wouldn't matter, because her sister was dying. And the only person offering help was the man who'd made her a prisoner. The woman brought lunch an hour later. She didn't touch it, just sat there, thinking, calculating, trying to find an angle that didn't end in disaster. There wasn't one. By the time evening came, she'd made her decision. Not because she wanted to, but because she had to. The guard knocked on her door at 10. He's ready. She stood, straightened her clothes, took a breath, and followed him downstairs. Kang Min-seok was waiting by the door, black coat, expression unreadable. You're coming. It wasn't a question. Yes. Good. He handed her a coat, thick, Warm, expensive. She put it on. They walked out into the cold Seoul night. A car waited. Not the sedan from before. A different one. Bigger. He opened the door for her. She got in. He slid in beside her. The driver, actual driver this time, pulled away from the warehouse. She stared out the window, at the city lights, at the people walking freely, at the life she used to have. And she realized something. She'd already said yes. Not with words, but with action, with compliance, with the simple act of getting in the car, and Kang Min-seok knew it. He'd known it from the beginning, because no had never existed as an option. The meeting place was a parking garage, 4th level, empty, just concrete pillars and shadows. The car stopped in the center, engine still running. Kang Min-seok checked his watch, 11:03. She's late. His voice was calm, but she caught the tension beneath it. 2 other cars were already there, his men, positioned at the exits, watching. What if she doesn't come? She asked. She will. How do you know? He looked at her. Because she came back for you once before. What? 6 months ago. She was in Seoul, got as far as your building, stood outside for 20 minutes. Her chest tightened. You're lying. I have footage. Then why didn't she come up? Because she saw my men watching you. He said it like it was obvious. She knew I'd found you, and she ran. Headlights appeared at the entrance, a single car, old, rusted, nothing like the vehicles surrounding them. It approached slowly, stopped 30 feet away. The engine cut off. Silence, heavy, suffocating. The driver's door opened. A woman stepped out, thin, shaking, hood pulled low over her face, but she knew that walk, that posture. Amma, she whispered. Her sister. Alive. Kang Min-seok's hand landed on her arm, gentle but firm. Not yet. She's right there. Wait. Amma took 3 steps forward, stopped, looked around, counting the cars, the men, the exits. Smart. Always smart. Yeonja? She called out. The old name. The real name. She moved to open the door. Kang Min-seok held her back. Something's wrong. What? She's stalling. She's scared. No, she's buying time. His eyes scanned the garage, the shadows, the corners. And then she saw it too. Movement. Behind one of the pillars. A figure. Silent. Waiting. There's someone else here, she breathed. Kang Min-seok's jaw tightened. He spoke into his phone. Korean. Fast, clipped. His men moved instantly, surrounding the pillar. The figure stepped out, hands raised. A man, tall, well-dressed, familiar. Too familiar. Her stomach dropped. No. Kang Min-seok's grip on her arm tightened. You know him. It wasn't a question. She couldn't breathe, couldn't speak, because she did know him. Choi Dae-jung, her supervisor, the man who screamed at her, who arranged late-night cars for employees, who knew her schedule, her address, everything. He's the traitor, Kang Min-seok said quietly. The pieces fell into place. The company car that picked her up, the route he knew without asking, the way he'd been watching her for months. Not because he hated her, because he needed her. He's been embezzling from you, she whispered. Yes. And he used my sister to cover it up. Yes. And then he used me to draw her out. Kang Min-seok said nothing, because she was finally understanding. Choi Dae-jung stepped forward, smiling, confident. Min-seok, it's been a while. His voice was smooth, casual, like this was a business meeting. You know why I'm here? Kang Min-seok said coldly. I do, and I'm here to make a deal. You're not in a position to negotiate. Choi laughed. I think I am. He gestured. Another figure emerged from the shadows, this time from behind Amma's car. A man, holding a gun, pointed at Amma's back. Her sister didn't move, didn't run, just stood there, frozen. Here's what's going to happen, Choi said. You're going to let me walk out of here, with the girl and Amma, and in exchange, I get nothing. Kang Min-seok finished. You get to live. Silence. Kang Min-seok didn't move, didn't flinch, just stared at Choi like he was an insect. You really think you're walking out of here? He asked quietly. I know I am. Then you're stupider than I thought. Choi's smile faltered. I have leverage. You have nothing. Kang Min-seok's voice cut through the air like a blade. You have a gun pointed at a woman who means nothing to me, and a girl who's only valuable if she's alive and cooperative. He leaned forward. Shoot Amma, and I lose bait. But you lose your only shield. Shoot the girl, and you have no leverage at all. Choi's jaw tightened. You're bluffing. Am I? The temperature in the garage dropped. She could feel it. The shift, the power tilting. Because Kang Min-seok wasn't afraid, wasn't desperate, wasn't even angry. He was in control, completely, and Choi was just realizing it. You can't kill me, Choi said, voice shaking now. I have copies of the ledger. I have proof of everything. I know. Choi blinked. What? I know you have copies. I've known for 3 months. Kang Min-seok tilted his head. Why do you think I let you live this long? The color drained from Choi's face. You knew? I needed to see how far you'd go, who you'd contact, who you'd try to sell to. He smiled. Cold, empty. And now I know everything. Choi stumbled back. You're lying. Your contacts in Busan, your buyer in Tokyo, the offshore accounts, all of it. Kang Min-seok stood, opened the car door, stepped out. You were never the threat, Choi. You were the test. The man holding the gun at Amma's back shifted nervously, looked at Choi, waiting for orders, but Choi had none. He was trapped, outplayed, finished. Kang Min-seok gestured. His men moved in, fast, silent, efficient. The gunman was disarmed before he could react. Choi tried to run, didn't make it 5 steps. They dragged him back, forced him to his knees. Amma collapsed, shaking, crying. She finally opened the car door, ran to her sister, dropped to her knees beside her. Amma, I'm here. Her sister looked up, eyes hollow, face gaunt, but alive. I'm sorry, Amma whispered. I'm so sorry. It's okay, it's over, No. Amma grabbed her hand, squeezed hard. It's not over. He's going to kill me. No, he said. He lied. She looked back at Kang Min-seok. He was standing over Choi, calm, unmoved, watching, and she understood. He never cared about the ledger, or the money, or even the betrayal. He cared about control, about sending a message, about making sure everyone knew what happened when you crossed him. Please, she called out. Please, you said she could live. I said she'd have a choice, he interrupted. And she does. He looked at Amma. Work for me, legitimately, or walk away and take your chances. Amma stared at him, then at her sister, then back at him. If I stay, what happens to her? She goes home. Free? Free. Amma laughed bitterly. And if I leave, then you both disappear, and I pretend I never found you. Silence. Amma's hand trembled in hers. Take the deal, she whispered. Please, take the deal. Amma closed her eyes, nodded. Okay, Kang Min-seok gestured to his men. They helped Amma to her feet, led her toward one of the cars. She tried to follow. Kang Min-seok blocked her path. Where are you taking her? To a hospital, then to a safe house. I want to go with her. No. Why not? Because you have a choice to make, too. She stared at him. What choice? You can go home, back to your apartment, your job, your life, and pretend none of this happened. Or you stay, work for me, help me make sure people like Choi never get close again. Her heart pounded. You're asking me to work for you? Yes. Why? Because you're smart, and you're loyal, and you see things other people miss. He stepped closer. And because the moment you got in my car 4 days ago, you stopped being invisible. She looked at her sister being led away, at Choi on his knees, at the city lights beyond the garage. And she realized. She'd thought she was the victim, the pawn, the bait, but she wasn't. She was the test, for Choi, for Amma, for herself. And she'd already passed. By surviving, by adapting, by choosing to get in the car tonight. Kang Min-seok hadn't been controlling her. He'd been watching her, seeing if she was strong enough, smart enough, ruthless enough. And apparently, she was. "I'll think about it," she said quietly. He almost smiled. "You do that." He walked toward his car, paused, looked back. "For what it's worth, you were right." "About what?" "About the driver." She frowned. "What do you mean?" His eyes locked on hers. "You spent 4 days thinking I was the most dangerous person in this situation." He opened the car door. "But you were wrong." And in that moment she understood. The real danger hadn't been Kang Min-seok, or Choi, or even her sister. It had been her choices, her compliance, her willingness to survive at any cost. She'd walked into that warehouse thinking she was powerless, but she'd walked out knowing exactly how much power she actually had, and that was the most dangerous thing of all. Kang Min-seok got in the car, the door closed, the engine started, and as the convoy pulled away into the Seoul night, as her sister disappeared into protection, as Choi was dragged into the darkness, she stood alone in that empty garage and realized the truth. And the driver had never been the most dangerous person in the car.